Tonight, I would like to present to you my list of the top 10 most terrifying cryptids in North America. We do a lot of theory on this channel, and we do a lot of Bigfoot specific stuff. Let's take a little break tonight and look at some of the other scarier things that have been reported to haunt the woods and valleys and deserts of North America. Now, your list might be a little different. This is mine in particular. So let's take a look, and we'll talk a little bit about these. We'll go from 10 being least scary to my number one most frightening creature in the woods. Let's get started. At number 10, we have the Thunderbird. This is the cryptozoological creature, the Thunderbird, which is also supported by the Native American beliefs going back for thousands of years. This is described as an incredibly large bird-like creature, something with a 20-foot wingspan up to, and also descriptions of it being bird-like, but also descriptions of it being more pterodactyl-like and more like a winged serpent have been seen. The winged serpent encounters tend to be more in the southwest, where in Alaska and the Pacific Northwest it's reported to be more bird-like. People are seeing something giant in the sky. And for me, this is, as far as most cryptids go, it's kind of a scary sight to see something that big fly over and be natural. I once saw a condor fly over, and it was huge. So I could see how this could be terrifying. Something that big could easily carry off a child or a small human or a goat or something like that. At number 9, we have the Loveland frog. I've talked about it before. It somewhat has gained popularity on the internet lately. This is from Loveland, Ohio, a place that interestingly enough gets a lot of snow. Now, I know frogs hibernate, but this particular creature has been seen walking in the snow. It's a 3 to 4 foot tall bipedal frog creature. And I think that's what's so frightening, is that there's precedents for Bigfoot in, the great ape species and humans and even dogman. You can associate giant wolves, but what is the precedent for a giant upright walking amphibian? Now, there's been sightings going way back of these things running across the road all the way up to more recent times. If you look around on the internet, you can find pictures and stories of this. I covered this in an earlier video, like I said, but I think its inclusion is warranted because it's just so different, so out there. People are still seeing them all the way up to this day. Kids, adults, policemen, the whole town has been terrorized by these things, and even going down farther south from Loveland, Ohio, they spot these things. Absolutely fascinating. If I saw a giant frog creature, I would probably be terrified, and it would definitely be an underwear changing moment. So that's why he's on our list today. Number 8 is the Enfield Horror, coming from Enfield, Illinois. This is also known as the tripod creature, standing about 3 to 4 feet tall, having one huge giant back leg with claws on it, some shorter front legs, and some tiny little arms up front, all clawed with horrible teeth, unlike anything ever seen out there before. There is absolutely nothing else I could compare this creature to other than some half reptile, half gorilla with 3 legs, I guess. But this has been reported. There was a whole string of sightings, I think in the 70s and going up to the 80s, and every now and then, every few years, they have more sightings. One of the more famous incidents was a boy came running into the house. Dad asked what was wrong. He says, I got attacked. And he was cut up and bloody, and the dad opened the door because he heard scratching, expecting to see a dog or something, and he found this tripod-looking creature with claws and fangs, and he decided to shoot at it, and I guess it made some big howling noise and hopped away like 30 or 40 feet in one hop. Absolutely fascinating. So if you ever hear about the Enfield Horror, it's some 3-legged tripod demon-looking creature with big red eyes. Very crazy, very frightening. So here we have number 7, the Chupacabra. Now some of you might laugh because of all the supermarket tabloid stuff, and it was really popular in the late 90s, early 2000s. But if you get aside all the tabloid type stuff, there's really something going on. This is kind of the folkloric belief of the Southwest and down into Mexico and South America of what's causing cattle mutilations, goat mutilations. In fact, that's what Chupacabra means, is the goat sucker. Described as a small, horrible looking little demon monkey-like creature with horrible fangs, been known to attack children, attack goats and livestock. To me, it's terrifying. I can't imagine living on a little farm or a little villa somewhere, or just being out in the woods and discovering a dead animal and then have this thing pop up. It's just, very scary to me. So behind all the hype, there really is a creature. Now, I know they've been blamed for coyotes with mange and other such creatures, but I think there's something else going on there. If you look into a lot of the mystery and the ethos of it, and the creature that's being described in some cases has absolutely nothing to do with like a dog with mange or a coyote with mange. This one's interesting. Let's move on. Number 6 on our list is the Flatwoods Monster. This was on September 12th, 1952 in Flatwoods, West Virginia. This reportedly there was a bright light, a UFO was sighted, however you want to describe it. And there's a lot to this story, so I'm just going to kind of give you the real short version. Kids and people came to go investigate what this bright light was, and they came across this strange, frightening creature that appeared to be half humanoid, half metallic, sometimes reported with arms, sometimes without it, with like a metal dress and a weird, odd-shaped head. And there was report of gases and other things around that made people sick and had lasting illness effects. It's just a really bizarre story. I suggest you go check it out. Small Town Monsters. They do a great DVD series of all these different cryptids. I've seen a few of them. They're all really good. They're coming out with one. I can't wait to watch it. I recommend you go watch it too. If you go online, there's a few web pages that have the whole write-up of the story. Very fascinating, very frightening, just because it seems to be some kind of UFO alien, but not like we've ever heard before. It doesn't look like a gray alien or a reptilian. Very strange. Number 5 on our list is Pukwudgies. 2 to 3 foot tall, little imp-like, leprechaun-like demon creatures that have been spotted in Delaware and part of the folklore up there. They've been known to be evil tricksters and lead people to their doom, reported to appear and disappear at will, to shoot poison arrows and conjure fire from their fingertips. This is the Native American folklore. Commonly said that long ago they were friends of humans, but something happened and they turned on us. Very frightening, very scary. Something really creeps me out about these little things. And people do report seeing them and have strange things happen in the woods, especially in the Delaware area. So be careful out there. I find this frightening. Baphomet, the Lake Worth Monster, the Maryland Goat Man. This seems to be some of the titles that are calling this creature that has been seen all across the United States. It seems to be a central and east coast problem. I haven't really heard of them on the west coast. To me, these seem to be crossing over from a normal cryptid, some unidentified creature, into more of a demonic type territory. Very scary. There are reports of them being small, 3 to 4 foot little creatures. And Sasquatch Chronicles, one of my great resources. I love that show. They had a gentleman on there who had these things in his backyard, and he blasted it out of a tree with a shotgun, so they can be killed. But there are other reports of these things being bigger, much bigger, where they present themselves as a regular goat, trying to beckon people into the woods, and then seen later on as a 7 foot tall, half man, half goat looking creature. One was reported to be carrying a dead body into the woods, the body of a boy. Very frightening, very evil. The presence of these things is just terrifying. I find it very scary, and it frightens me to the core. It's getting really hard to classify these as most scary when we start getting into 4 and 3 here. But I'd like to talk to you about the Dogman, the Beast of Bray Road, a goddamned real werewolf standing before you. To new people, this may seem ridiculous, but people in the Bigfoot community know that they're seeing something, and it's taken off quite lately, gotten very popular. Down to the border around Mexico, and South America has a huge history of these creatures, calling them the devil dogs or the dogs of war. It's actually a curse you can bestow on somebody. All the way as far as Sacramento, up the Missouri River Basin, and up and down the East Coast. I think as they go north and get super cold, other creatures supplant them, but they are terrifying. Been known to run in packs. The smaller ones, the size of a very large wolf, running around on all fours until it stands up, to the biggest ones being 7, 8, 9 feet tall with broad shoulders and a narrow waist. And they have that kind of elongated paw, almost reversed knee, although not really a reverse knee, of like a dog or like a cat or like a chicken walk type of a thing that really separates it from other species out there. Frightening. There's been very frightening encounters. Go check out Dark Waters. He's the absolute king of Dogman narratives. The Siege of Lockett Ranch is absolutely riveting. There's tons of stories of these things. Sasquatch Chronicles, always awesome. Has stories of these things now and then. Absolutely fascinating. If there's a precedent for Bigfoot out there being an upright walking ape, much like humans, where does an upright walking dog fit in? But thousands and thousands of people are seeing them, and they're scary and they're carnivorous. So that's why he's number 3. Number 2 on our list is the Mothman, also described as evil incarnate, and a very terrifying figure, described as a 6 to 7 to 12 foot tall man-like bird creature with large wings and glowing red eyes. And whenever its presence is seen, tragedy has struck. There's huge histories going way back on this, way more than can be covered here. I suggest you go check out Loren Coleman in the Cryptozoological Museum. He's written some books on it. Very fascinating. One of the most interesting reports is he was sighted at the site of the Silver Bridge, which collapsed in the 60s, the mid-60s, and killed 46 people. And generally when this thing is seen flying over cars and being around, it's always preceded by tragedy, so kind of an omen of death. These things are considered not good. Very frightening, very unholy, something like akin to a vampire bat, but in full-size human form, or a giant owl. Very scary, very frightening. This is the stuff nightmares are made of, and it has a deep, rich history. I suggest you folks check it out. And now, the number 1 most terrifying creature you can see in the North American woods is the Gugwe. I've talked about it before. This scares me more than anything else I think I could encounter. Imagine a 10, 12 foot tall, maybe bigger, 1,500 pound plus, muscle-bound Bigfoot, but with a protruding snout like a baboon, multiple inch long vicious fangs, long claws, incredibly strong, incredibly fast, just basically evil incarnate out in the woods. This thing has one motivation, that is to kill and eat and make other little Gugwes. Basically, the demon of the woods. Now, this is a very real creature. I don't think there's anything supernatural going on, just an evolutionary pinch that made these things big and ferocious. If you could just think about meeting the biggest, scariest Bigfoot you've ever seen, but then you amplify it being completely carnivorous. There's been reports of these things killing bears and using the bear skin as clothing. In the very cold months, there's nothing these things would fear. If I came into a clearing hiking through the woods and saw 3 dogmen on the right and one of these on the left, I'd be running over to the dogmen to give them a hug. They are that scary.